A phenomenon has come into Normal, Alabama as a blank canvas, and look what he's turned into. The year of 2021 has been one of the ages for this quarterback. He had 5 games of 400 passing yards, 2 that surpassed his own NCAA 1 era program record with 446 yards and 4 passing touchdowns against Grambling. The second one, he passed for 462 yards and 5 passing touchdowns against Texas Southern. Now, he's a highly decorated quarterback with so many awards to name. Let me run off a few of them for you. Spring 2021, SWAC football first all team. He was the first in the program history to win the Box to Row National Player of the Year award. Not to mention, he came back, he won that award for a second time this fall. He's in the list of great company of 2 other players that have only been able to win the Box to Row Player of the Year award back-to-back time. That's performed FCS third team All-American, and he ranks in the top 10 nationally of 9 different NCAA statistical categories. 2021 spring season Deacon Jones Trophy Award winner, SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, Black Football Player of the Year, and a host of SWAC Player of the Week awards. This is a Tomorrow Leader Sports Network series, third and long, and today we'll discuss 2022 NFL prospect, Alabama A&M quarterback Aqeel Glass from St. Louis, Missouri. We've seen the byproduct of Alabama A&M Aqeel Glass through the coaching he's received within the Bulldogs program. He wasn't as polished coming out of Lutheran North High School as he is today, being coached by Coach Maynard, Jason Mott, and Dwayne Carter. As the game progressed, mechanics changed, and if you're not willing to change and improve your mechanics, the game will pass you by. As a junior at Lutheran North High School, Glass threw the ball 280 times, completing 157 for 2,811 yards, 32 touchdowns, 14 interceptions with a passer rating of 114.8. In his senior year, Glass threw the ball 256 times, completing 151 for 2,359 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions with a passer rating of 116.83. Now, when you look at Glass when he first got into Alabama A&M, passing progression from his senior year of high school to where he is today has led me to look back at the quarterbacks that graduated with Glass at the same time in the state of Missouri. The highest rating amongst all of the quarterbacks was a 2-star. One of them was Aqeel Glass, and the other was a quarterback. Rivals.com and 247 Sports considered a dual threat quarterback stopped playing after his freshman year of college. Now, Rivals and 247 Sports had Glass as a pro-style quarterback with a 2-star rating who had multiple offers from Missouri State, FIU, and Alabama A&M. Glass had a rocky season in his freshman campaign at Alabama A&M under head coach Spady, where the Bulldogs went 4-7 with Glass playing in 9 games, throwing 209 passes, completing 106 for 1,192 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. With a passer rating of 95.22%, completion rate of 48.40, and averaging 132.44 yards per game. Coach Maynard was hired as the head coach in December of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs in 2017. Coach Maynard played the quarterback position himself at North Carolina A&T, was a 2-time MEAC Player of the Year, and played in the Arena Football League. Now, if you ever watched the movie Any Given Sunday, those pretty long passes that you saw Willie Beeman out there on the field throwing to where they was just like teardrops out the sky with the touch and the velocity on the ball where they just fell directly into the receiver's hands, that was Coach Maynard throwing those passes. Coach Maynard, being a former quarterback, having the knowledge of the position and his coaching ability, helped Glass understand putting touch on the ball, standing tall in the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field, his decision-making, and not throwing the ball at one speed to his receivers will take him a long way. I'm sure Glass had a rough first season under Coach Maynard because Coach Maynard expects a lot from his players, especially his quarterbacks who are the leader of the team. Not to mention all of the players that put on that Bulldog uniform. You think Coach Maynard didn't have an effect on the Aqeel Glass game his first season under his tutelage? You got to be crazy because his passer rating increased to 128.72%. His completion rate increased to 56.07%. Yards per game increased to 220.09 per game. And he threw the ball 346 times, completing 194 for 2,421 yards with 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Now, with switching out, and this is what switching out quarterbacks within the scheme that they were running under the first year under Coach Maynard's. Now, seeing his success in Coach Maynard's offense that first year with his pocket presence, touch, throwing the ball, vision of the field, Glass steady discipline of completing his classwork, studying and breaking down game film, and working on his craft. Glass had a season for the ages his junior year in college. Second year under Coach Maynard. Statistically across the board, everything increased. I mean, everything increased. He did have 2 more interceptions that season, which he did throw 11. He did throw 32 touchdowns. His passer rating was 149.03. The yards per game went up to 300 per game per average. He threw the ball 445 times, completing 273 for 3,600 yards. Now, you tell me that's not a remarkable increase across the board. Looking at him having that type of season, it makes you wonder, what exactly could he do that senior year, which would have been 2020? Well, unfortunately, we already know the pandemic came. And guess what? Everything got put on pause as far as football being played that season, and the games got moved to the spring. But in the spring, Glass led his Bulldogs team to an undefeated season, winning the SWAC championship. Through 5 games, Glass threw the ball 158 times, completing 91 for 1,355 yards, touchdowns, 4 interceptions, averaging 338 yards, 338.75 yards per game. Completing percentage was 57.59%, and his passer rating was 157.99. Now, I was at the SWAC championship, and I'm going to tell you right now, Coach Maynard gave him the business and he left him alone. And this is a testament to the coaching that Coach Maynard has given this young man over the time that he spent with him, helping him understand the things that he needs to do in order to progress in his game. Aqeel locked in so tough to where he got himself back in the game. He's leading his team down the field, putting points on the board. Looking at Glass growth through the 3 seasons under Coach Maynard had me wonder, what else more could this young man do? I mean, as a fan, you're sitting on the edge of your seat like, okay, he's coming back in the fall. What more could he possibly give us outside of what he's done thus far? He's already thrown for 3,600 yards. What more could he give us? Well, guess what? He gave the SWAC fans a show that they would never forget, letting them know he was going to go out with a bang. Now, things didn't end the way that he expected them to, because one of the goals that they did set was for them to win the SWAC championship twice in one season. Even though that didn't happen, it didn't stop Aqeel Glass from battling in all the games that they had to play. When they needed to play, find a way to stand tall in the pocket, make sure he was able to scramble around until one of his receivers was able to get over a strike to him, making sure that they was able to catch the ball and continue to keep moving the chains down. He did set the SWAC on fire. As I stated in the beginning, he had 5 games of 400 passing yards. 2, he surpassed his own NCAA Division I era record with 446 yards and 4 passing touchdowns against Grambling. And he had 462 yards and 5 passing touchdowns against Texas Southern. Aqeel Glass ended his final season at Alabama A&M through 10 games, throwing the ball 414 times, completing 259 for 3,568 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, with a completion rating of 62.56% and a passer rating of 160.27, averaging 356.80 yards per game. To put the icing on the top of a beautiful career for this young man from St. Louis, Missouri, his name is listed as the 4th on the most all-time SWAC passing yards with 12,136 passing yards in his career. Just think, if they would have had 5 additional games for him to play, say that fall season, instead of them playing in spring, where exactly would he be on that list? This young man has been on a tear for the past 4 seasons after Coach Maynard touched down at Alabama A&M, along with Jason Mai and Coach Dwayne Carter. The phenomenal job that they've done with this young man to get him prepared for where he's getting ready to go right now speaks volumes. It's not always about how or where you start, but the journey you go through and where you end up. We all had dreams of being someone great or doing something phenomenal or being that all-time sports player at whichever sport it was that we had a passion and love for. Aqeel Glass, his is to become an NFL player. Through his continued hard work and dedication, Glass is well on his way, never giving up on his dream. Even when he was first introduced to the sport of football, he wasn't allowed to play the position of quarterback because of his size. He had to play, if I'm not mistaken, tight end. Still to this day, I'm willing to bet he reflects on all that he went through back then. He says to himself right now, we're only just beginning. He will definitely be one of those ones that we will continue to talk about for years to come. Coming from the HBCU realm, the halls of the HBCU football programs that will be drafted into the NFL. He's going to have a story to tell. And all we're going to do is continue to sit back and watch him write that story through his play on the field, his dedication and hard work. It speaks volumes that he's already obtained his engineering degree while at Alabama A&M. And as I stated before, the skies are the limit. Thank you for watching. This is a Tomorrow Leader Sports Network 3rd and Long series. Until next time, farewell.